Here we are back again, just as we said we would be. It's about to roll over 20 past 10, so we will get a new candle on each of these charts. And look at the move on the Euro US dollar overnight. That's where we took our last trade down there. Got about 70 pips up since then. Not as much on the pound yen. Did have a big drop off there. And I mean, your first oversold signal would have been down here. It's got a way to go. So yeah, if you did make any money on any other signals, I likely would have been wiped from that move right there. What's our next setup? Well, both of these are lurking towards the overbought side. Williams percent range on the euro dollar around 21 and around about 22, 23 on the pound yen. So we'll watch for those, but let's check out our economic calendar. A lot of events going on today. Let's just check off some of the more interesting ones. Industrial production month on month in South Korea down at -3% actual against a -1.3% forecast. Not great there, but their retail sales did stay as forecast, down from a previous of 2.4, but they hit 0.2%. Japanese unemployment rate 2.7%, beat the previous of 2.8 and down on the forecast of 2.9. Pretty good unemployment rate, although they are trying to do some things in Japan to curb the overwork culture. That is one contributing factor to an aging population. So maybe an unemployment rate that low isn't actually that good. Maybe they could do with some people more engaging in recreational activities. They had a good industrial production month-on-month figure, 1.1% actual against -0.3% forecast and a -5.4% previous. So good beat there. Australia building approvals month-on-month down 12.9%. Was forecast to be up 5.6%, so that is considerably less than expected. That's a miss. 3 a.m. from China, Purchasing Managers Index, manufacturing and non-manufacturing, both coming in pretty close to their forecast. Manufacturing PMI 50.1 against 50.4, and non-manufacturing 52.3 against 53. That was the Tokyo session. Now we've had some European numbers already. 9:45, plenty of figures coming out of France. CPI month on month, that's a big one. 0.4% actual against 0.2% forecast. I think they would have preferred the forecast at 0.2. 0.4, it's not majorly run away given the circumstances. They did have a 0.4% previous, so they'll want to keep it down. It's certainly not as good as Germany's deflationary figure yesterday. And France also with their quarterly GDP, 3% actual, 3% forecast, 3% previous. Although I'm also seeing now they actually had their PPI, the Producers Price Index, month on month come in. And even though I was sort of so-so on the 0.4%, here we go on the Producers Price Index, 2.9% actual. That's against a 1.2% forecast. And these PPI numbers, some of those extra costs do end up being absorbed in the CPI. So whether we're still to see big increases there, not sure on that. Let's go to the Swedish Economic Barometer. That came in around about 30 minutes ago at 10 o'clock. 108.5 actual against a 120 forecast. Even though it's a miss, shouldn't worry them too much. What's coming out throughout the day? Unemployment rate from Germany in 25 minutes. GDP quarterly from Italy at 11 o'clock. And the CPI month on month from Italy as well, 12 o'clock. That's an hour and a half away. That'd be an interesting figure to see. At the same time, we get CPI from the Eurozone as a whole. Italy CPI forecast at 0.2%. I think it's going to be higher. Mid-afternoon then, 3:30. Plenty of Canadian dollar GDP numbers coming in. Monthly, quarterly, yearly, annualized quarterly. Then a few bits on the US dollar throughout the late afternoon. The House Price Index Composite 20 year on year. 4:45 Chicago Business Barometer. And then 5 o'clock Fed Chair Powell testimony. A lot of people trade on what J. Powell says. Could be some volatility there. At the same time, we got the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index. Do you feel confident? Yeah, reasonably. And a few other speeches there until we drift to the end of the day, but shouldn't see much impact. I see Clarida's in there. That's at 8 o'clock from the Fed again. So yeah, if we see big swings in price, it'll be J. Powell at 5 o'clock. But I don't think a lot of this is going to have an impact. Let's have a look at the charts. Let's see if we're getting any close to a signal. Well, potentially going to go overbought in the next few periods on the Euro US dollar if we see it continued buying there. But nothing that needs our immediate attention. A bit different to yesterday where we dived straight in on 2 trades. Came out okay though. Let's hope we get the good ones today. Hopefully this doesn't continue to trend too much. We prefer this rangy area. Hopefully we've missed that right there. And now we can get in on some whipsaw action. You can actually see over here, the Euro US dollar, that's drifted now into the overbought territory. So we might get a signal sooner than we think here. Let's try and catch that falling knife. So we are going to try and beat the trend here. It's measured that previous bullish fractal down there. It's about 18 pips, we'll call that. So you can see our risk calculated for this Euro US dollar trade where we are going to be selling off the market after this big green candle. 0.32 standard loss. There we go. Confirmation happens and we sell. we can see this has been a long ongoing uptrend where we would have had this situation a few times. This would have been the first, would have been a sell trade there that got us out here. So a small loss there, 3 pips. Next up would have been here, and that would have been about even. You'd have lost the spread, I'd say, thereabouts. And finally, the last one, it would have been this one here. That's about a 5-6 pip loss. Overall, not as bad as it could be going against the trend. A couple small losses. Hopefully now, this time's a winner. Fingers crossed that we've nailed the timing. So we've just seen it reclose in the overbought territory there, 2 periods on. So we are doubling down already. It left there, it reclosed here. Let's get in there. Same risk again. We need this to go downhill quick in terms of price. Okay, why don't we make it interesting? We are tripling down now on the euro US dollar. We can see it comes back into that area there. It's moved about 14 pips, 0.13% since we joined in. Candle is about to close now, and we are going to shut down the trade. It is going to be a very poor loss. Let's get rid of those trades. That's where the bearish fractal forms. We can see that. I mean, this is a really good example of how it can go, though. We've lost on the second and third trades as well. All 3 of those sub trades lost for a total of $125, 44 cents down. We need a couple winners, a couple quick winners to get back into it. This is very close on the signal. We're going to measure it out because it does look like it might come. That's 40 pips, so it's quite a reduced risk, and we do get the signal this time just for 0.14 standard loss. Quite glad that the bullish candle was all the way down here because, as I said, I do think the euro's got more room to move. I know there was this bullish fractal here, but we don't count it if it's literally just formed. There was the same yesterday on a bearish fractal. It's going to end up too tight. So we go to the previous one that we can actually see when we're going to get into the trade. Getting a few of those losses back here doesn't seem like too much because the low volume, 0.14 standard lots, but $8.26, heck, we'll take it. It's been fairly quiet. We're almost at 1/4, and there could be 2 potential signals. We see the euro US dollar in overbought territory once again. Pound yen had gone oversold. I don't know if that's going to stick. It doesn't, but it does stick on the euro US dollar. We've measured that out to be 13 pips, and let's go with that. And it's another sell trade on the euro US dollar, already pumping up a bit. At least we're at the top of the range. If it wants to stay in this price range, then we could be good. But if it's just consolidating, yeah, we're not going to enjoy the run that we see, I don't think. Who knows at the moment? We are not market movers. We cannot force the price to our whim. But we can catch up on some of these economic numbers that have been coming through. German unemployment rate, 5.3% now. It's down on the previous from 5.4 and the forecast 5.4. They were expected to gain 47,000 jobs. They only gained 34, but it's better than a loss. Italy's quarterly GDP figure, 2.6% actual, 2.6% forecast, 2.6% previous. Interesting. Unemployment rate at South Africa, that is very high, 34.9%. Struggling over there right now. It was 34.4 previous. They'd hoped it would get better up to around about 30%. That is not what has occurred though. Of course, they'll want to bring that down a lot. CPI month on month from Italy, yeah, it did come in hot, 0.7% actual against 0.2% forecast. Not much of a surprise there. And the CPI month on month from the Eurozone, that was 0.5% actual against the flat forecast 0.0%. So a miss there for Italy and a miss for the Eurozone. Core CPI in the Eurozone month on month, that was 0.1% against 0.5%. So possibly food and energy making up a portion of that CPI. But still not ideal figures when you've still got a year at least of no interest rates on the Eurozone. That's according to Christine Lagarde at least. Things can change, of course, in that length of time. Those are all the European numbers done, and nothing now really of interest for us until 3:30 when we get those Canadian GDP numbers. Our trade's going okay at the moment. A few dollars in profit, could still swing either way. We've seen a high in price form up there. So even if we got 2 lower highs now, could see us into profit, but it could be a loss as well. Could finish anywhere in this range. See how we do. Also, just want to say, look at how close this pound yen did come to a signal in the end. That was 94.63 on the Williams percentage range. Anywhere over 95, that would have been in. Here comes the close, and it does look like we are going to be taking back some more money in just a second. There we go. We see the fractal form, so we get out of dodge. $22.79. Still yet to get a signal on the pound yen all morning. It has been a while. In fact, we can see the last signal came. That was about 9:15. That would have been a nice one as well. You'd have made very good money there. Maybe we get another one of those. Pound yen, it doesn't seem to want to trend, and that's fine by us. But be a bit more volatile about it. Get into the oversold, the overbought. We don't mind which. Ask and you shall receive, though. We do get an oversold signal come through on the Great British Pound Japanese yen. We've measured that risk out as 22 pips. So let's jump in the trade at 0.29 lots. We are on the pound yen and we are going to buy. Here comes the double down as the move continues. Buy signal is going to come through now on the euro US dollar. We've measured that distance out there, calling it 18 pips. And so we can get in with 0.32 standard lots. Meanwhile, if this fractal can close over here, this bullish fractal, if price is anywhere in this region at all, we're looking at pretty nice. We're about $70 up on that pound yen trade at the moment. 4.5 minutes time, we'll know the conclusion of that. Hopefully it's as good as we're seeing it right now. And it does look like it's going to be pretty nice on the pound yen here. Just a couple seconds to go before the close. It does pull back a little bit. That's fine. Let's shut them off. And between them there, just over $55. Really nice move on the pound yen. Now only $39.16 down for the day. Price barely moved, but we are going to double down on this euro US dollar trade. Let's buy in. Same volume again. Do prefer to see an actual move downwards rather than getting in pretty much the exact same price. But hey, if we do get that reversal, a few candles like this, more profits for us. Okay, about to triple down on this euro US dollar trade now. Things are about to get interesting. At 10 past 2, at just a few seconds time, it does look like we're going to be closing off this euro US dollar trade. Quite a bad loss in the end. Would have liked to see it bump, yet we see the bullish fractal form, so let's shut it down. That was about a $76 loss. Red candles kept on forming. It looks more set for a drop, and that's why it could have been worse. But at the same time, we could have done with a retracement, and that's how it could have been better. And it does look like the euro US dollar could go oversold again, so we might find ourselves back in a buy trade. Also on the Great British Pound Japanese Yen pair, we did actually miss a trade right over here. Should have been a sell trade there. I think we missed it because we were adding risk over here. That was the same time. Yeah, 150 and 150. So yeah, this should have been a sell trade, and in fact it would have closed out there from that fractal, so that would have been a loss. Missing the signal saved us there. That would have been a 5 pip plus a couple 7 pips. Wouldn't have been too much volume because that fractal is quite far from the candle close, but still it should have been a small loss. Don't quite get that buy trade. That was ever so close. 94.67 just pulled up at the last second. We are not missing out this time on the Great British Pound Japanese Yen. We are going to get in with a buy trade when we see the close, which is now 0.2 lots. Let's buy the market. I got a feeling we'll be doubling down on this one. Double whammy coming up here. When we close a window, we are opening a door. Here goes our Great British Pound Japanese Yen trade. Shut that down. Meanwhile, we are entering a trade, a sell trade on the euro US dollar. 0.28 lots. Check the risk. Here we go. $6.38 was what we got out of the pound yen. Certainly better than a loss. And we're about $7 from profitability. Let's see if this euro US one can get us there. And maybe we'll get back in on the pound yen if it closes like this as well. Immediately back into oversold territory. See how that goes. We do get that buy signal on the Great British Pound Japanese Yen. That is 0.30 lots. Let's buy it. We've already seen it come up a bit in the few seconds since the candle turned. And it's a bit of a weird one because we're seeing a bullish fractal here form. So we could well be closing out at the end of this candle if it doesn't make a new low. Let's hope it does jump into a bit of profit. And it is going to be a trade close, hopefully for a small amount of money if we can hang on. We do. So let's close that down. $6.11. We made $6.38 on the previous one and $6.11 here. This is what we like, making money in the range. Churn that price up. $105 down for the day. Only at $1 down for the strategy as a whole. And we've still got our euro US dollar trade going. This could do the job for us. So here we go. Let's double down on our euro US dollar trade. Selling that market off. This is where we'll be closing out the trade. That's the close of the bearish fractal. And we lost about $10 there in the end. Did get some back with the second trade. $7.84 from that one. But wasn't enough to get back all the losses from the first trade at $17.36. Not too big of a loss though, so not particularly worried about that. Some of these trades do come down to the last few seconds. If it shot down to the low, well, we would have made money. And if it had retraced back up to this high or even a little bit further, would have been a detrimental loss. Swings and roundabouts maybe. Just after 4:30, neither of these charts getting close to a signal. Both the Williams percent ranges playing it down the center. We know those signals can sneak up fast though. Economic numbers, GDP for Canada, month on month 0.1% actual against 0.1% previous. Quarterly 1.3% actual against 2.3% forecast. And yearly 3.4% against 4.4%. Overall, not great. I don't think it's going to cause any major moves in the market though. Certainly not for the currencies we're trading on. Also at 4 o'clock we had the S&P House Price Index Composite 20 year on year, 19.1% as forecast. A lot of people struggle to get on that market and it's a big worry for people. Wage growth versus house prices, not been on a good trajectory. Out of nowhere comes a sell signal on the Euro US dollar. Going to call that 14 pips, and we are going to get into the trade here. 0.40 standard loss. Sell it off. Do get an overbought signal here on the pound yen. Let's get in there. 0.17 lots. That's our volume. And again, a very quick run up on price there. And the Williams percent range really does extend when it closes. When the candle closes at the high, the Williams percent range, it'll push that. Meanwhile, hopefully in a few minutes' time, we get the close of this Euro US dollar. It's in a little bit of profit at the moment. Don't want to see it come up too much, but I can't see this fractal high being beaten. We have the Chicago Business Barometer at 445, 61.8 against a forecast of 66.8 and a previous of 68.4. Not great. Businesses are not feeling as good about it. And 5 o'clock, we have the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index, 109.5 actual against 111.6 forecast and previous. So consumers are a little less confident too, but it shouldn't be majorly damaging to the currency. All right, let's close down the Euro US dollar. Booking a minimal win from that. A minimal win is not a bad trade though. $5.20 for us. And we won't be taking any more signals from the Euro US dollar. We will let our trade play out on the Great British Pound and Japanese Yen to finish off the day. Need to be able to make at least $5.56 from it to get into profit overall for the strategy. I think being $109.39 down for the day, it will struggle to get us back into profit for the day, but we would like to see ourselves be up on the whole. The close of the bearish fractal is now, and we are going to be shutting off our trade for a good chunk of profit. Don't climb too much. There we go. $20.82. That means for the day, $88.57 down. That's not the best, but we can focus in on the net profits. $15.27. Didn't wipe out all of our gains from yesterday. So I think we can take that as a positive. Mix of trades today though. We saw this trending move right at the start of the day. That cost us some money, but we did manage to get some of that back throughout the day. And we finished not too bad. Again, pound yen, a much better pair. The euro dollar had this weird, it did range, but it did it in like a half trend fashion rather than a whipsaw fashion. We want the up, down, up, down, up, down, not the steadily down and then the steadily back up. That V shape's no good for us. We will be trading the strategy again tomorrow, but let's finish the day in the journal. Journal activated. Let's scroll down to today's trades. Divided by the thicker black line, starting with that Euro US dollar trade. As we said, really put us up against it, but we did manage to scrape some back, even with that other Euro US dollar trade. Yeah, that V shape of price on the chart didn't do us well. But as I say, it did get some back. Every trade on the pound yen was a winner, so we are certainly doing well there. And we finish off the session at $15.27 up, closing at $5,683.92. 21 trades over 2 days, so we're averaging just above 10 trades a session. Seems like quite a lot, but if we get 10 trades tomorrow and they are all winners, well then the bank balance is going to start looking pretty healthy. We'll be back for more trading then.